in your mind, for you and for I. I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah. I mean besides, but your feelings inside you, I'm messing up my mind and my spirit, babe.
All right. What's up, insiders? Welcome to episode 37. You're listening to Inside the RV. This is a podcast about entrepreneurship, work ethic, self-development, and becoming the best version of yourself. We appreciate y'all tuning in. You're joined by your two lovely hosts. I'm one of them. My name's Jacob Moore.
My name is Ryan Ramirez.
Jacob Moore and Ryan Ramirez, people. Together, we are an artist and artist manager duo trying to come up in the music industry and achieve success and achieve the vision we've set out for ourselves. And we're going to tell you everything that we learn in real time as we journey on that come up. And one thing that I'm learning is that fear is something you got to embrace.
Yeah.
Fear is scary. Fear is the unknown. Fear is when you're laying in bed at night saying, I don't know. I don't know how the hell this is going to work out. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where I'm going to be XYZ in however many amount of years or whatever it is. But part of entrepreneurship is understanding that, number one, risk is a huge component of entrepreneurship, right? So you're constantly trying to mitigate risk, but you know that it's there because you're doing something new. You have some sort of creative venture where you're trying to bring something new to the marketplace or do something innovative and new. And with that, there's always uncertainty. And with uncertainty, a lot of people have fear. I have fear. When we first started this in 2018, I was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen with this. But when you dive straight first into that fear, you develop certainty, right? So when we first started our come up and I told Ryan, hey, I want to be your manager. And Ryan was like, okay, let's do it. I was fearful. Am I ever going to be as big as Mo Shalizi or Scooter Braun or whatever? And I'm sure Ryan was like, am I ever going to be able to get to that artistic level of the greats that I admire, whatever it is? But we said, screw it. And we went head on. And from there, we started to learn more about the industry. We started to learn more about the things that we feared. And with that knowledge came certainty and came confidence in what we're doing.
And we didn't know like what we're doing at all. At all. But I think that was like the magic of it too, because we were going to like random video shoots, random photo shoots, helping out with video shoots, going to like events, like just trying everything pretty much. And I feel like the magic of not knowing what we're really getting into was that we were able to do all those things. Yeah. Like I feel like if we knew too much, it would be like we'd be too strategic and too smart about it. But it was cool because we experimented a lot. And honestly, like looking back, like, it was fun. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like just doing all the things we did. Yeah. Like at the time, moment by moment, it's obviously stressful. It's like, what are we doing? Like, are doing it right? But overall, it's like that's what made it like a cool adventure so far.
And we still don't know.
No, yeah.
We still don't know exactly what to do, but that's part of the fun. And there still is a little bit of fear. Ryan and I are taking a pretty big step forward in his career because we're planning to work with whoever it may be, but we're planning to work with more people and add people to our team to really try to get Ryan's career going. Yeah. Because we've been doing this for almost 3 years, and now Ryan and I have, accumulated all the foundational knowledge and all the fundamental things to build a career in the music industry. But we would have never done that if we didn't dive headfirst into the fear. Because music is really competitive. The barrier to entry for an artist is really low. Anybody can go on DistroKid and upload anything to it, and then next thing you know, you're on Apple Music. Cool, and Instagram's free, and your brand lives almost entirely as an independent artist in 2021 on social media. So the barrier to entry is pretty low, so there's tons of people doing it. There's tons of fear when it comes to your personality, how you feel about yourself, because artists are putting themselves on the table. Yeah. You're ripping your heart open, Ryan, and you're giving it out to people, so that's something to fear. But the bottom line that I'm trying to get across is that in entrepreneurship, me and Ryan have come to embrace fear. I get excited when I'm scared about something, whether it's a relationship with a girl, whether it's a new business venture, which I'm actually transitioning from my day job to another sort of venture / job currently right now. And that's scary, But guess what? Scary and fearful is way better than boring and comfortable. Thank you. Yeah, is way better than boring and comfortable. So that's what keeps things exciting, guys. That's what makes life exciting, is when you're scared of things and when you're saying, oh, I'm taking a new dive into the deep end right here in an even bigger pool than I was in a couple years ago. It's one of those things. That's why you should chase entrepreneurship, because you know that there's always going to be that flame inside you. There's always going to be that fear. There's always something to look forward to that kind of gives you a shiver. You're like, ooh, there's some energy flowing through you.
Yeah.
There's some energy flowing through you. And I had one of my doctors one time, when I was like 16 or whatever, she was like, Jacob, nervousness is energy. It's a naturally occurring feeling phenomenon, and it's energy from your body that makes you feel a certain way, just like fear or nervousness. And that really stuck with me, because when you feel fear or you feel nervous or scared about something, it's simply your body reacting in a natural way to something. So embrace the fear. It's not like when you're scared of something, no one else has ever experienced that before.
Yeah.
It's just your body's natural reaction to the unknown and what could come out of that, because there isn't much certainty in what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So embrace fear. Look at it as one of those things. I have the opportunity to feel energy, to really feel something, where most people live a comfortable life and they go to whatever job it is that they, maybe, I don't want to say most people, because I'm sure a lot of people like their jobs, but there is a portion of people in society who go to the same job every day and they don't like it and they're comfortable and there's nothing giving them a kick in the ass. There's nothing to fear, And with that comfortability from the lack of fear, you get complacent and you start to say, why do I even need to improve anymore?
Yeah, one thing I keep seeing come up, like in shows, interviews, movies, or whatever it is always like this one thing that keeps popping up. If you fear something, then that probably means that you should do it. That's your sign telling you like this is what you need to be doing. Yeah. Like one thing that came to mind right now is like in that Foo Fighters documentary that we watched and shit. It was like, so I think it was the replacement drummer, like one of the first guys. I don't think it was like the main guy right now.
Taylor Hawkins.
Not him. I think it was the guy before or something. I don't remember, but he was like, the drummer was like, I don't know if I should do it. Like, it's a big thing, and like I don't know like if I'm ready to make that commitment. And then Dave Grohl was like, and that's exactly why you're the guy to do it. And then he did it, and then he said it was like an amazing experience. So like, and I think about too, like, because I switched high schools my senior year of high school. I went to Los Alamitos High School for choir, because they went to nationals and shit. And I got approached with the opportunity to go and like to switch schools my senior year. Like I wanted to have senior year, like I knew everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the choir director approached me and was like, hey man, like we want you on the team, like we're gonna go to nationals. And I'm sitting on YouTube watching their nationals performances and I'm like, bro, I'm scared, dude. Like I'm like, dude, like how the fuck am I gonna do that? Like that's insane. Like it's like it's next level shit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like I'm doubting myself. Like I'm not that talented. Like I'm good, but like I don't know if I could do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm fearful. Like I'm gonna meet new people. Like I'm in a whole new world my senior year. So I don't know, but then I had that fear, right? But something inside me told me like, you just got to do it. Like, just trust yourself and just do it. And I did, and it was the best year of my fucking life, bro.
Yeah?
Like straight up, it was the best year of my life.
So far.
So far. But so far in my life, but it was the best year because I just met like amazing people. And it's crazy because when I got there and once I got in the program, when you're in it, like, okay, like when you watch the video of like the final product, it's like intimidating because it's like, I can't do that. Like that's just crazy. But when you're in the you're in the program, you're around the people, you're surrounded by that energy. You like as humans, like we adapt to things. So like you adapt into it. So it's not like you become this ultra talented person. It's like now you're just around it. So like you become it type thing. And so I watched like the final product of the video that I was in. It was like 2015, and I'm like, damn, like it's the same shit as like the years before that I was stressing about, but I was doing it. So it's like it's crazy how like when you actually do it, like the fear was just in your head the whole time, and it's like, but you're able to do it if you just throw yourself into it. And one video I saw that really stuck out to me too was this Will Smith video, and he was like, I was gonna go skydiving with my buddies, and everyone was drunk. And they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go tomorrow morning, and everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna do it, just fuck it, whatever. But then he gets home and like starts laying down and he can't go to sleep because he's like just imagining falling out of an airplane. Yeah. And he's like tripping out, like sweating, whatever. And then he couldn't enjoy breakfast the next morning because like he's just so fearful and whatever. And so he's like, oh, maybe we're not going to do it. But then everyone's like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
So they get to the thing, get to the very top in the airplane. And he said, like right before he jumped out, he said they count to 3 to push you, but they push you on 2 because on 3 people grab. So it's like 1, 2, and then they push. And he said right when they were about to push him, it was like the scariest experience of his whole entire life because his life's flashing in front of his eyes, like you're looking down at a fucking airplane. And so, but wow. He said right when they push him, like after like 5 seconds, he realizes it's like the most blissful experience of his whole entire life because he sees the whole world and he's like flying. And like he's like, I wasn't even scared going on the way down. It was just right before.
Yeah.
So he's like, it seems like God puts the most blissful experiences right behind that wall of fear. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I learned about that.
That's crazy. I feel like when you're in the fear, right? Like Will Smith was in that skydive. He was falling out of the plane. Ryan Ramirez was in the rehearsals for the nationals, you know, in high school or whatever. When you actually get into that so-called fear, you kind of can stop and look around like you're in the Matrix or whatever, and you get to see things from a different point of view, and you're like, oh, this isn't that scary because I understand it now.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with you have more certainty. Like Will Smith's level of certainty when it came to what skydiving is, as soon as he jumped out of the plane, he was like, oh, this is what this is. This isn't everything that I imagined it was when I was laying in bed last night. And then Ryan's mid-rehearsal or whatever, doing a cartwheel or whatever he's doing, and you're like, this isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because you're simply going through a process. Now, some things are much less of a process than others. Like, for example, the skydiving. It's one of those things where within 2 to 3 hours, you're going to be up in a plane, you're going to get it done. So there's less of like, you're kind of just jumping right into it. But with something like entrepreneurship, starting a new business, becoming a music artist, embarking on whatever entrepreneurial journey it's going to be, it's way more slow paced than you think. It's just you day to day making different decisions that you hope are going to benefit you and the people that you're serving with whatever product or service you have. So that's something that you can look forward to is like, oh, I'm so scared to start my business. It's like, dude, understand that quote unquote starting a business just means you're going to get up every day and try to make decisions that allow you to bring a particular product or service to market, whatever it is, whether that service or product is music or whether you're detailing cars like Robertson Detailing or whatever it is. And so that's something that I've had to learn because I've done a couple different entrepreneurial ventures with this one included and aside from that. And like I said, I'm currently trying to transition from my day job and I am self-employed. So that was super scary at first, you know? I was like, the level of uncertainty here is crazy. I was super fearful, but I knew I didn't have much to lose. Now I'm transitioning into another venture where I'm trying to change what my day job is. And I have a little bit more to lose. It's a little more like financially intense, and there's a little bit more risk with it, but it's one of those things where now that I've done, and I want to talk about this too, now that I've done this with you, Ryan, and worked with our team in music, now that I've been self-employed for almost a year, and now that I've done other entrepreneurial journeys, helping other startups, helping other people, whatever it is, just being a part of different entrepreneurship stuff, I now am realizing that it's fun, dude. It's fun to embrace that fear and do something new. And I already said that. And so the one thing I wanted to get across a minute ago when I was like, oh, and I want to touch on this. So the more you do it, the easier it's going to be. When you, whatever it is, if you want to print stickers and sell them on Etsy, like there's so many cool digital entrepreneurial jobs you can start like today for less than $500. There's so many fucking things you could do. You could drop ship and not even see products and just see money come into your Shopify backend, whatever it is, you know? So there's a lot of things you could do. Once you do that first one, the next one is going to be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So now, well, you know, once you're fully popped off and whatever, if you want to start your own business, Ryan, you're going to look at it and go, oh, I already did this music journey thing and I'm already where I want to be. Now I can potentially do something else, but it's going to be easier because you're going to know what to expect. You're not going to be so fearful. But what I want to say is the fear is always going to be there whenever you do something new.
Yeah.
It's energy. It's fun. So
because you're entering like a new environment or that you're not like completely understanding of yet.
Exactly. But that's what makes you human. That's what makes life fun. So you can choose, I think Jeff Bezos said it, you can choose a life of comfort or whatever and certainty, or you can, take the risk and start the business or whatever it is. And then when you're 70 years old, which one are you going to like more?
Bro, even me, like, just to be completely transparent on the podcast, like, even though I do this and this is what I do and what I love to do is music and being an artist, like, I fucking fear being like a big artist, dude. Like, it's a fear of mine.
Yeah.
I fear making it big time way more than I fear not like being shit.
Wow.
So like that's like deep for me because I watch like videos of like Usher with like a sea of people and he's like at a concert and like I'm picturing myself on that stage and I'm like scared. I'm like, fuck, that's scary. But I know from past performances and stuff that I've done, like, because I've done pretty big performances, like even the choir thing, there's a lot of people and everything. But like once you're in it, like, and you're like, the stage routine and like your whole shit, like it's like you become it. But it's like watching it from a distance, like saying like, oh shit, like I'm good because I know like I'm gonna be on that level. Mm-hmm. It's like that's scary, and even like the celebrity lifestyle of like I watched this Britney Spears documentary and how they tore her fucking apart, like the paparazzi and like not normal life, and it's just like that's scary to me too. You know what I'm saying? All that shit's scary, but that's how I know like that I'm supposed to do it because I gotta face that, and like that's just. I think about it this way too. Like if I had no interest in it, I wouldn't even be fearful of it, and I wouldn't be interested in even looking into it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think about like, okay, if let's say I was trying to be a soccer player, like I'm thinking about like, oh, I literally have no interest in that. Like I don't look it up. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
So like, I know that's not my shit. Yeah. But this is the shit I think about on the daily. So that's how I know like I just got to overcome that fear because this is what I'm supposed to do.
And here's what Ryan and I talk about a lot too. We're going to achieve our goal. I'm letting everybody know.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be a big music manager. Ryan's going to be a big music artist. Whatever that means. Mm-hmm. But we kind of have some metrics that we measure that by. But Ryan and I are going to achieve the success. I'm just saying it. Mm-hmm. So here's another thing about diving into fear. So Ryan and I, we dived into that fear, whatever it is. We're tackling it. We're now immersed in it. We're seeing that it's not so scary. We're learning the ropes. We have a little bit more certainty. We're expanding and scaling the business. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Once we achieve our goal of Ryan being a huge music artist and me being a music manager, I can go do something else. Like Ryan and I have talked about this. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's say Ryan, multi-platinum artist, stadium tours across the world, paparazzi up his ass. I'm the big music manager. I'm the next Scooter Braun, whatever. Cool, we achieved it. Mm-hmm. Let's say all of our contracts end and me and Ryan shake hands and go, hey man, I'm gonna go open up a car shop. And Ryan's like, cool, Jacob, I'm gonna go open up like an art supplies store or whatever. Mm-hmm. You can go do that.
Yeah, literally.
But you can literally do what you want. So when people say like, oh, I'm just so fearful, like I don't know what's gonna happen like with my life. Your life is whatever you make it, dude. Mm-hmm. Like you can transition into different things. And I think we've spoken about this before on the podcast. Just because your 20s and 30s was you in the music industry doesn't mean your 50s and 60s is gonna be you in the music industry. And I always think of Kobe, bro. Mm-hmm. I always think of when Kobe said, like when he retired, what was he, like 42?
I don't know the age.
Or whatever, yeah, whatever. So he was like, if the next 20 years weren't, 10 times better than the last, like I have failed or whatever. But the point is he was going into different stuff. Mm-hmm. He was going to pursue something different than basketball. Mm-hmm. And so when people tell me, oh, I don't know if I want to make this my life, you don't necessarily have to make it your life. Just right now you do. Just right now. So like friends in college, they'll be like, oh, I don't know what I should do with my life. And I'm like, dude, get whatever fucking job you want. Find a job that scares you, that pumps you up, that gives you a lot of energy. Pursue it, kill it, achieve your goal. And then if you love it, continue doing it. And if you don't, pick a different job.
I mean, look at fucking Michael Jordan, bro. Like he played basketball, tore it up, won some rings, and then he went off and played baseball.
Yeah.
He played like Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Not the MLB. It was I think it was like minor leagues, but like he still went to do something different.
Yeah.
And then he came back to basketball and tore it up again.
Yeah.
And then he did like Space Jam, like movies and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like he just did what the fuck he wanted to do.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's like true leadership in my opinion.
But he never would have been able to branch off and do all those different things if he didn't dive head first into that one thing that he wanted to do. And you already know, like if anyone tells me, oh, the greatest of the greats, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, all these great people, like, oh, they were probably never scared. They just went and did it. Like, bullshit, dude.
Bro, I saw this interview that Chris Brown did, bro, and this blew my mind. But it changed my perspective a lot. He literally said in the beginning of his career, he was petrified to go on stage. And I was like, if Chris Brown was scared to go on stage, that motherfucker tears it up on stage. Then I have no excuse. Like, you know, so I'm not even scared to be on stage, but it's just like, if he had a fear like that too, he's like, I just want to do music videos. Like, let's just do music videos, put out records. Like, I'm scared to go on stage. And his management was like, nah, dude, like, this is what you do. As an artist, like, this is what you got to do. And he did. And he adapted into it. And then made the best of it. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier too. Like, as humans, when we just put ourselves in situations, we adapt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I genuinely feel like even the most, like, the people who aren't the most talented, like in music, but they still make it happen because they're around the environment. Like, they're in the atmosphere of people, labels and management and stuff, to where it's like you just become it because you're around it. And I heard Diddy say one time in an interview, he was like, if you want to win, get around God and some money.
Wow.
So I was like, damn, that's crazy. Because literally, if you're around people with money 24/7, like, you're going to make money. Like, the chances are is you're going to also become that. So it's so true when people say, like, you become who you surround yourself with, because you literally just become, like, who you surround yourself with.
You're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. Yeah, it's totally true, man. Yeah. And there's so many things to be fearful of. Like, I hope the point has gotten across. I'm not telling people you shouldn't be scared of things. What I'm saying is, when you find something that scares the hell out of you and pumps you up and you're interested in it, go fucking do it. Because that's your heart, that's God, that's the universe telling you, oh my God, this is something that gives me energy. If there's something that keeps you up at night, I mean, shit, like, you know, that's better than coffee. If there's something that keeps you up during the day and it's constantly on your mind, that's the best stimulant you can have. That's how you know you got to go out and get whatever that is. And so I just want to encourage people who are listening to use as many resources as you can. I've said it time and time again. If you are listening to this podcast, it means you have access to the internet. The internet is the greatest, most innovative knowledge base in the history of existence. After this podcast, Ryan and I can go learn about quantum physics for the next 6 hours if we want to. You know, you can learn about anything you want. So if you really are fearful, just understand that you can go learn from this multitude of resources on the internet. With most things, most mainstream things, even things that are super niche down, there's always a YouTube channel for it. There's always a Wikipedia page for it. And that's why I don't like hearing the bullshit excuse of people saying, I don't know how. I don't know how. Dude, if your dog shits in your house and you don't know how to clean it up, if you have a phone, you can fucking look it up on YouTube. You, like, the access to information nowadays is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You can literally learn how to, like reassemble your whole car and shit. On YouTube.
I can go online right now and learn. I was okay, you know, President Biden, don't come arrest me. Don't send the CIA after me. But sometimes I research atomic bombs because just the, like, how those work blows my mind. It's interesting, FBI, I'm sorry. Siri's listening to me like, we got him. Okay, Jacob. Yeah, we got him. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can go learn about whatever you want. You can go learn about animation, whatever, and don't be held back like, oh, I have to get a degree in this, XYZ, whatever. Just fill yourself with knowledge and you'll be good. You'll be good. And that's one way. If you're sitting here and you're fearful of starting your music artist journey, if you're fearful of starting your Etsy shop, if you're fearful of starting a YouTube channel, like, here's another thing. If you have to let's say you want to start a YouTube channel or a podcast, part of that is you got to have the personality, like, to get on here. Like, when Ryan and I, before we start the podcast, we high five, maybe we'll drink a little Truly or something, whatever it is, and we get into our persona. And that was learned. Like Ryan and I probably years and years ago never would have been able to come up and speak in front of people or whatever with the confidence that we have now or whatever, but we learned how to do it. I've watched YouTube videos on how to be more confident and how to be a more give a more immersive experience when I'm speaking to people. I also learned that in college and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is anything you want to learn, if it's a self-development thing, you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
You're doing it right now by listening to the fucking episode.
Yeah,
so,
for sure,
so there are so many resources for you to be amazing, and there genuinely are people that want to help you. Yes, people of certain backgrounds and creeds and colors and religions have it much harder than a lot of people in certain instances. But what I want to say is that the internet has helped. It hasn't completely eliminated, oppression for people. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the internet has helped give more resources and opportunity to all people than pretty much any other technology ever created. So that's something really fucking awesome. And that's why I encourage people, no matter who you are, no matter how much shit you got on your plate, just look at yourself in the mirror and go, hey man, I've got good resources out there. I got a good head on my shoulders and I can go accomplish this.
I think the phrase, if there is a will, there is a way,
Yeah.
has never been more true than now.
Yeah.
Like I think it's always been true, but now with like the internet and like the resources, it's like it's becoming more and more true.
Yeah, dude.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's why with all of the resources that people have, and not everybody, but a very, very, very large amount of people have access to the internet, at least in the United States, at least in many other countries like the United States. Yeah. So that's why, and like me and Ryan, I definitely want to stay open-minded. I'm not ignorant to the fact that people don't have access to technology, let alone like housing and things. There's a lot of really fucked up shit going on. But what I'm saying is for the people who do have access to these resources, like us, that's an even fucking bigger reason for you to go out and accomplish what you want to accomplish and to dive into that fear head first.
And whenever we talk about this kind of stuff, it's like I really want it to come off as like an empowering thing.
Yeah, dude.
Like I never want to come off saying like, oh, like you shouldn't complain because you do have this and this and this or whatever. Like it's not like that. It's like if we could just plant a seed in one person's head of like, you know what? There is this resource I can use, and then that changes their whole life. Yeah. Like, dude, like why not put out that kind of empowerment? Like I'm not gonna get on here and say like some people have it, some people don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is that going to do for anybody? So,
or I never want to be the guy who's like, no fucking excuses, dude. Yeah. Like, I don't care if you feel like shit today, whatever. I agree with some of that to an extent.
There's
like
an element of
like
that.
The hustle culture. There's definitely an element to that where sometimes you do got to put aside your feelings. Sometimes because if you get way too lost on the other end of it, where you're like, oh, I feel like shit today, this and that. It's like then you're just not being an adult and being in charge of your emotions and being disciplined enough to get your shit done.
Yeah.
So there is an element of the hustle culture. Work your ass off, get it. There's totally an element of that in this, but I never want to come off as the guy. To all the insiders listening, I'm never going to come off, and if I do, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I don't want to come off as the guy who's like, no fucking excuses. You have access to the internet, but you're not following your dreams. You're a fucking pussy, dude. That's not what we're saying up here. Yeah. Ryan and I are simply giving everybody advice based on what we're learning in real time as we come up in an entrepreneurial journey, because Ryan's 23 and I'm 24, and we think that it's really valuable for you guys to hear about our fuck ups and hear about the things that we do right and the things that we do wrong as it's happening right now. So we don't know everything. And I'm not going to get up here and say that we're doing everything right and we're using our technology so well because, we had microphones, so we started a podcast. What's your excuse, bro? It's not like that at all, dude. Yeah. It's not like that. We're simply we're very driven. We're trying to continue to be as disciplined as we possibly can be. And we want to be an outlet and a resource for people to be able to gain the knowledge and the confidence and the courage to accomplish something that they really want to. Okay?
And I'm aware, though, that different tactics of motivational stuff work with different people.
Yeah.
Because like for me, the kick in the ass shit works better for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like it just like when Andy Frisella tells me I'm a pussy, like it makes me get up and work hard.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that's our style of like, you know what I'm saying? I think we do have elements of that here and there, but at the end of the day, bro, like we're just like, this is an empowerment podcast. And not like, oh, like we got to figure it out, like, so we'll empower you. It's like, no, we should all empower each other as we're going.
Exactly.
Like, even us, like, you know, we're still trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, bro.
Like, we could, like, 300 episodes from now or whatever. That's kind of crazy to think about. But we could say something totally different. And maybe someone after hearing that is thinking like, well, then why would we listen? Like, if you're just gonna flip up and shit, it's like, well, it's less about like we're right about shit. It's more about like, okay, when shit really pops off, I really want to have like a documentation of like for people who want to follow that, because I've always wanted that as an artist, or like just someone who wants to be successful. Like, I try to scour different interviews and find different gems from people that I can take, but I never had like a blueprint from somebody. So I don't know.
And if we, you know, maybe we could provide a little bit of entertainment. Maybe that's part of the podcast too. Hey, hopefully we're storytelling, bud. Yeah. Hopefully people are listening to this in their car or on their commute or on their lunch break or whatever, and they're just laughing because we're such comedians.
Maybe.
That's I mean, so hopefully that's happening. Maybe not. Maybe it is.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, to sum it up too, like I want this podcast too to also just overall be a testament to like taking action. Because we're taking action every week doing this shit. Yeah. So if you take anything from the podcast, it's like the consistency part of it. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And so to get back to the main point of fear, I've had a couple things happen in my life over the past year that 2020 was. Shit ass year for everybody. And I'm sure like most people, I learned a lot. And I think I want to say that out of the whole COVID thing that happened, and thankfully is, I would definitely say starting to get better with the vaccines and all this stuff going on. Like, that's really awesome. All the people that experienced this and were impacted by it, including us, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners, everybody was impacted in some way. We lived through one of the most fearful times in history, in modern history, right? So that's something awesome. So if you don't think that you have the courage, the balls, whatever it is, to go out and immerse yourself in fear, you just lived through a very fearful year. You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. Because a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people did kind of like crack under the pressure of the fear of COVID-19 and stuff like that. So I'm just thankful that, a lot of that's kind of fizzling out. Things are getting better. So just remember that, like, if you don't think that you can handle the fear, whatever it is, whether it's asking that girl out, and trust me, that was a big thing. Like, me and Ryan always talk about it, like, not on the podcast and stuff, but like girls, like if you're a young man, like, talking to girls can be kind of scary, dude.
Yeah.
Like, rejection, you got all these like models that society puts on what a man should be, and you feel like you have to live up to these expectations. And I'm sure women experience that type of stuff too. But it's like there's a lot of fear with girls, there's a lot of fear with your career, there's fear with money, all this type of shit. So if you think that you can't handle it, just look back on your life and all the fear that you've overcome already, because you have. Even if you tell me, I haven't overcome anything fearful, you have.
Plus overcoming the fear is like good for sharpening up your like, how there's like a fight or flight reaction?
Yeah.
Like, you can use it to tighten up your fight reaction, because you want to become a fighter.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like anytime you overcome fears, you become more of a fighter.
Nice. And
you embed that habit into yourself. So it's good practice to, like, even for like little things, like you can start with little things, what I'm saying, like approaching the girl, or like,
exactly,
or that's a big thing, but
or hey, pro tip in the club, approach a guy, chop it up, get the blood flowing, just kind of talk to someone, you know what I'm saying? Just be social, and then go talk to the girl.
Yeah, or her friend. And then
or her friend. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'll talk to all of them, you know what I'm saying?
That's dope. But yeah, I think it's good to embed that habit into yourself, because, I mean, believe it or not, we're all fighters, because we're all living life, and life is a fight. You know what I'm saying? With financials and careers and just like growing and relationships and all that. So we're all fighters. It's just like, it's just tuning that even more.
And life is really long.
Yeah.
Life is really long. So you've got many opportunities to overcome your fear. And that also means you've got many instances where you're going to be faced with fear. And if you don't learn how to dive headfirst into it and destroy that shit and become stronger out of it, you're going to have a really hard time. you're going to have a really fucking hard time. So you might as well develop it now. I don't care if you're listening to this podcast and you're 55 years old, or if you're 18 or 16 or whoever the hell's listening to this, or some other 20-year-old like me and Ryan. The sooner that you do it with anything, the sooner that you start, the easier it's going to be, and you're going to be more well prepared for when you approach situations where you're really fearful in the future. So just get on it now.
Yeah, and I think the more you run away from something you're fearful, like the more you procrastinate on it, the harder it is to overcome the fear. The more time you let go.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, man. Good episode. Hey, Insiders, thanks for listening to episode 37. Hit us on Instagram at JACXBmore, at Ryan Ramirez Official. Like I said, we got a lot of cool stuff happening with Ryan. We're working on expanding the team right now with a couple of key players that I think are really going to help push our careers forward. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on, man. So everybody be on the lookout. Who knows, man? 6 months from now, things could be real different for the better, you know? So we're really excited about that. So keep up with our music, Ryan's music, keep up with everything that's going on, and peace out.
What's in your mind for you and for I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah. I made my signs, but your feelings inside you. I'm blessing on my mind.